This is Christine Brown, and while I have to listen to this podcast as my motherly duty, you have the choice not to. My sons sometimes say some naughty things when they're trying to be funny, but really, they're just being stupid. If you still want to listen, go right ahead. I am not your mother.
All right, welcome back to the Patriots Dynasty podcast. In 2003 season, we're making our way through, Steve Brown. We are week 11 of 17. So what's that percentage-wise?
Half.
11/17? I don't think so.
That's enough.
Half-ish. We're half-ish way through the 2003 season. Patriots have just come off their bye week and are facing at home the Dallas Cowboys. And why is that significant, Steven?
So I have been reading, which I know, shocking.
I was wondering why you had a pained face.
Yeah,
joining this meeting.
I had a buddy give me that Patriots Dynasty book.
Oh yeah,
this one here. You read. You mentioned it. Yeah. What's his name? Jeff something.
Jeff Benedict. Highly recommend.
Never heard of.
Good book.
Never heard of that guy, but
apparently he wrote a Tiger Woods book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, as for never hearing the guy, he clearly got a ton of access.
Yeah.
I'm only like, I don't know, a quarter of the way through it, but it does goes real deep, and I learned a ton of stuff about RKK getting the team and all that shit, and the rift with Bill Parcells and how that all went down.
Yes.
So I'm glad I read that before I watched this game. Otherwise I've been like, oh yeah, he used to coach for us. But there's a ton of animosity there. And I had already hated Parcells.
Yeah.
Because I blame him for stealing Curtis Martin.
Right. Yeah, that hate has now shifted, right?
Right. So the burning hatred I have for Curtis Martin focused solely on Parcells. Then I read that book and I hate him even more. Mm-hmm. So when I saw that he was coaching the Cowboys at this time, which I not forgotten, but sort of forgotten.
Yeah.
I got up for it. I was a little juiced.
Yeah. You and the entire ESPN crew was juiced because my first note on this game was in all caps, Parcells versus Belichick. They didn't say hello before the game.
They showed that clip of them making eye contact across the field.
Very briefly.
7 times, yes.
Yeah, throughout the game on a regular basis.
Yes.
And then they're like, once it got toward the end of the game, they're like, will they shake hands after the game? Let's go down to Susie Calder. And she's like, I don't know. Let's find out. I'm sure we'll have cameras on it. For the record, spoiler alert, they did. They had like a big long hug and everything.
Yeah. The best was the Eric Mangini snub. I loved that one.
Yeah, that was great.
We'll get
also underrated is the McDaniels one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when McDaniels beat Belichick and was like doing a victory lap around the stadium instead of giving a handshake. That was a good one.
Surprised we welcomed his ass back.
Yeah. So I was trying to come up with a name for this game. I was going to call it like the Bill Bowl or the Battle of the Bills, or I don't know. Do you have any suggestions for me?
I don't know. We sort of stuffed Tuna in a locker.
Oh, something about the tuna. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
There was a sign that reminds me. I wrote this down because I thought the sign was good. The sign said "Can the tuna," and then underneath in little letters said "Chicken of the Sea." The tagline made it.
Yep. Yeah. He is a chicken.
Chicken of the sea. Yeah, I agree.
Patriots after the Super Bowl.
Yep. Didn't even fly home with the team.
Couldn't shop for the groceries, as the famous line went.
That's correct.
And the commentators are falling over each other to try and blow Jerry Jones for letting him have total control of their franchise.
They even interviewed Michael Irvin to prove the fact that he had complete control, which, good for him, but he didn't actually do anything.
How did the Cowboys finish up this year?
They finished 10-6 and lost in the wild card.
And then his whole career at Dallas, how did he do there?
That was about it. It wasn't much more than that, I don't think. Yeah. Let's stat check that real quick. Bill Parcells, 10-6 this season, 2003. 6-10, 9-7, 9-7, and that was his last
Ever.
NFL head coaching.
Yeah.
So he was 64. 34-30 as a head coach.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I'll probably put him in salary cap purgatory too.
quite possibly.
I mean, that was the thing about Parcells. I mean, he was a good coach from the 80s. You know,
Yeah.
he just couldn't do it in the modern game.
Pre-salary cap, right? Yeah. And so that was in the book, wasn't it? When RKK came in and was like, they want to re-sign Bruce Armstrong. They're just like, well, we just give him a contract. And like, well, no, we can't do that anymore. We actually have to like figure out how much he's worth of our salary cap. He's like, I don't give a shit.
Salary cap is a little pre me remembering. You know,
Yeah.
so for like my entire life has been a thing, but I didn't realize that it had sort of started in like 2000 or late 90s, right?
That sort of time frame, yes. Yeah. It was right around the time that Kraft bought the Patriots.
Which is
so
crazy.
Like late 90s.
I thought it had been since like, I don't know, the early 90s or like since I've been around, but I guess not.
No, it's been around for...
And it's about to come in the Patriots' favor again when this coming season it drops by 15% and everyone has to cut a bunch of really good players and the Patriots is sitting there with a ton of cap space.
Yep. Checkers and chess, baby.
That's right.
But Bill Parcells is spending his little heart out right now.
Yeah, right.
Or he would be. Apparently, according to Wikipedia, he is a courtesy consultant with the Cleveland Browns. I don't know what that means.
What?
Since 2014. You never hear his name come up, but I guess
So
a courtesy
he's
consultant.
the reason they didn't win one game in 2 years.
Well, yeah. I think we also can't miss the opportunity to mention that Bill Parcells is also not named Bill. He is Duane Charles Parcells.
Oh yeah.
But everybody calls him Bill because why the fuck not? I don't even remember why.
I don't remember how that came
Let's say his father Charles Chubby Parcells.
His dad's like nickname was Chubby.
Chubby.
I bet his dad was a real asshole to Bill, and that's why he was an asshole to everybody else.
Yeah, just like our dad to us.
Sure. Yeah, but he loves you deep down.
Sarcastic asshole, yeah.
But he'll never tell you he loves you, but you know, ish. Sometimes when he's drunk that he loves you.
Yeah. Oh, so while at high school, he was routinely mistaken for another boy named Bill. As he had always disliked his given name of Duane, he decided to adopt Bill as his nickname. So there you go.
The Rock is like, bro, that's the best you could do.
Right? I went with The Rock.
Yeah,
Apparently,
show your fucking Bill. Come on, dude.
although if you're taking a life lesson from this, don't name your kid Duane because they're going to hate it. And they're going to change. They're going to hate it so much they're going to call themselves something else.
That's true. I can't even think of one Duane that I'm like, yeah, that guy's sweet.
No. Duane Almond?
Yeah, not that sweet.
Almond. Jesus. There's no D on that. Almond. Yeah. Another Bill Parcells, Duane Parcells fact that I find interesting that they shared in this was that his teams had only been shut out once before this 2003 season in 1993, which I believe that was with the Patriots. Is that right?
I don't know.
Fact check.
Probably. Sounds about right.
1993. Yeah, it was his first years with the Patriots when they were kind of crap and he was dragging them out of that. They would this season be shut out twice.
Including this game. A rolling 12-0.
Yep. Nice little baseball score to break up the football season.
Do you want to give a watchability on this?
Ooh, yeah, we shouldn't we? I mean, the game itself, not amazing from like an offensive output. Not a lot of scoring, not a lot of big plays.
Brady, 15 of 34, 212 yards, which like had 3/4 of those came on 3 plays.
Yeah. Yeah, like 200 of those yards came on like 2 plays.
No TDs, no interceptions.
Right. But then show what was Quincy Carter's numbers? The
Quincy
Cowboys.
Carter, Quincy fucking Carter. 20 of 36, 210, 3 interceptions.
And no touchdowns, spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah. There was actually a touchdown scored. Don't let the score fool you.
Yes.
The extra point blocked.
This game was all over the place. Yeah. So, like we said, it ended 12-0 Patriots, but that was not all field goals. Antoine Smith scored a touchdown in the second quarter, but Adam Vinatieri had his extra point blocked. He didn't even miss it. It straight up blocked, kicked it into the armpit of the oncoming defender.
From the two. Must be clear.
Oh, yeah. This was a chip shot that he got blocked, but then still kicked 2 other field goals. So whatever, which were also chip shots. So the scoring was a 23-yard field goal, a 2-yard rush, and a 26-yard field goal. I'm still going to give this a 2.5 out of 6.
That's generous.
I don't think, because I think defensively it was a great game to watch. And watching Bill Parcells get more and more frustrated that his offense couldn't do anything. And like the Patriots were basically up 9-0 for most of the game. They scored that last field goal just after the 2-minute warning at the end of the game.
After a Quincy Carter interception. Right.
And just like watching it and then also comparing that to listening to the commentators try as hard as they could to be like, Quincy Carter, not that bad of a quarterback.
It's not even true. They thought he was fucking awesome. I gave this like a 1 Super Bowl, most a Super Bowl in the AFC Championship, just from the Parcells factor. If Parcells was not part of this game, it's like an AFC Championship alone. It was a slog, and the commentators were awful.
See, I enjoyed them.
No, this is the back in the day when they did the 3-man booth, which no one's done that before and no one's done that since because it's a fucking terrible idea.
I disagree. I think they were good. Theismann, Mike Patrick, and Paul McGuire.
Paul McGuire was fucking awful.
I can never tell the difference between Paul McGuire and Mike Patrick, to be honest. They sound the same to me. So it sounded like a 2-man booth to me.
It was so fucking bad.
And I think Theismann, we've talked about this before. Theismann's kind of that like original, he's the original Tony Romo, the ex-quarterback who actually like knows what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. So I like listening to him.
They were so bad.
I disagree.
I'll get some quotes while we figure it out, you know?
Yeah, all right.
There was one thing that did make the game a little better.
Oh.
And gave me hope for the future.
Oh, what was that?
They had a commercial in it for HD.
Oh, did they really? I missed that.
Yeah, they had a shot of like the camera truck, the inside the camera truck.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, get an HD TV. You can see what we see. And
that's what they were talking, because I missed the beginning of that, and they kept going on about how, well, I've got one now, so maybe I'll get a second. Must be nice.
Okay, here you go. An errant pass hits the Patriots, like a screenplay hits the Patriots guy in the head.
Yeah.
It's a header. It's no good. It's a soccer game.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Was he kicking a field goal with his fucking head?
Yeah, that's not how soccer works at all. There's no good in soccer.
There is none of that.
But I mean, that's a pretty typical American thing, right? Not knowing soccer, that's like a rite of passage. It's like 4th of July and not knowing the rules of soccer.
They used horse collar 3 times by the 7 minutes left in the first half. They used fucking horse collar. And this is before horse collaring was a penalty.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at Quincy Carter read the blitz. It's a 4-man rush.
It was a late blitz. They rushed 3.
It was a 4 fucking man rush. They were the stunt.
It was a delayed blitz. Willie McGinnis was all over the field.
No, then they talk about Charlie Weiss saying, there's overcoaching because we have a lot of injuries. And so, you just kind of like keep it simple, let it go out there and play. Then they cut to Irving on the sideline. And he's like, oh, yeah, I told the receiver to go in to tell the quarterback to put more air under the ball. And they're like, wow.
Just like Brady does.
Yeah, wow, whoa. Oh, great. How great is that?
Typical Michael Irvin, though. It's like, listen, you guys are fucking doing this wrong. Here's what you got to do. It's like, bro, you don't play no more.
They use the word Wonder Kid.
They did.
Yeah. It's just automatic Fuck you. Wonder Kid, get fucked.
Look what I've created. I'm enjoying this.
They said Tom Brady struggled last year because they didn't make the playoffs. I'm pretty sure he led the NFL in passing touchdowns.
He did.
Fucking dicks.
I think he also struggled, but yeah. 2002 was not his best year. And
just like the constant Quincy Carter dick sucking.
There was a lot of that. It was egregious.
They wanted him to be good so badly, but
they were trying to will him into at least mediocrity. And because they kept talking about let's go into Quincy Carter. This is a good segue, I think. Because for those of you like me who completely forgot about him, he was the starting quarterback for this Cowboys team.
He's very forgettable.
For a few years. I had to look it up. And I remember he actually played for...
I found the worst one. Before we go deep in Quincy Carter, I'm going to bring us back one last time.
Give it to me.
The referee is the one who makes this call of the penalty. No fucking shit, Paul McGuire. Who else is going to make the call? Is the coach going to throw the penalty flag?
It's like talk about like the lineman or the line judge.
Most points wins the game. No, who else is going to make the call? Paul?
I think he's talking about throwing the flag and actually calling the penalty.
No,
it's one of the other referees.
What he meant to say was like the head judge, the guy all the way in the back, is the one who made the holding call. But you just said the referee is the one who makes the call. Fucking shit, buddy.
Good. I love this. This is great. Speaking of assholes, Quincy Carter played for the Cowboys for 3 seasons. This is the only season he started all 16 games. He started 8 games in 2001, 7 games in 2002, and I think he got benched in 2002 for somebody whose name I didn't recognize, Hutchinson or something like that. They talked about.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, I didn't care. And they're like, oh, he's actually really improved from last year. He's cutting down his mistakes. So I looked it up. This season, he would throw 17 touchdowns, 21 interceptions.
Yeah.
So not really cutting down mistakes, but in the season before, he didn't actually, in his first 3 seasons, he never threw more touchdowns than interceptions. He was 5-7, then 7-8, and then 17-21 in those 3 seasons. And then he played a few games. He played 3 games with the Jets and was 3 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Yeah, he played for the Jets?
Yeah, in 2004, played a couple games. So we may see him again. Who knows? We'll have to find that next season.
I hope so.
So do I. They were the commentators were like, just their jaw was dropped by the fact that he was an agile quarterback. Which this isn't like the first one we've ever seen.
No,
like,
yeah.
We've had Michael Vick in the league for a few years now, right?
Yeah,
so
they compared him to McNabb.
Yep. He was not McNabb.
No.
But yeah, I don't remember which commentator it was, but they were like, he threw some like 4-yard pass on the run, like back across his body. And they're like, this guy could throw a perfect spiral at a full sprint. I'm like, yeah, okay. And now it's like you have to be Patrick Mahomes throwing underarm, no-look passes to get that sort of filleting.
Well, there was Joe Theismann saying 17 for 30 is pretty good. That's a direct quote.
Yeah. Well, for Quincy Carter, it probably was.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, that's not pretty good, though. That's relatively good.
Well, okay, that's fair. His career completion percentage was 56.5%.
Yeah.
So 17 for, what was it, 30? That's above that. So that's pretty good. So that's not great. But they were trying to make this work. And it was like they were hanging in there until, when did he start throwing interceptions? Till the third quarter, end of the third quarter, when like the Dallas, the way this game went was Dallas had the number 1 ranked defense in the league.
Their defense was legit, even though it didn't have a ton of names.
No, there wasn't a lot of names, but they held the Patriots in check for the most part, except for when they would bring everybody on the blitz, and Brady would read it every time and would complete a long pass. And they did it twice, and Brady hit Branch deep for 1,
Yeah,
And then,
crazy pick by Givens though. That was
a play. That was a huge. That was a pick that was like 15 yards downfield.
It was pretty egregious, and the commentators like, "Wow, great! Oh, he's so open.
What a great play! What a great play design! Like it's an illegal play design, but yes, it was. But then the other one was they tried it again. I think the next quarter, and Brady had Givens just running straight down the middle of the field, and he was covered. And Brady's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna chuck it straight up in the air." And Givens had to like stop and come back for it and made the catch. And that's what set up the Antoine Smith touchdown run in the second quarter. But Dallas kind of did nothing. Their whole game plan, I think, on the season was to rely on that great defense, run the ball down people's throats with their like massive offensive line. And that running back, what the hell is a running back's name?
Troy Hambrick. Great name.
Troy Hambrick, yeah, which Hambrick just sounds like a fantastic name for not a running back. Like if he was a fullback or like
a nose tackle.
Yeah, or like a road grading tight end. Like you just got hambricked.
You can't run it with Hambrick in there.
Right, just a brick of ham.
Hambrick
like
putting up a wall.
Right, yeah.
I agree.
But apparently they would say that he angered people in Dallas last season because he was bitching about not getting enough playing time behind Emmitt Smith.
Wow, that was when Emmitt Smith was crap, right?
I don't think he was crap.
Is Emmitt Smith and Tom Brady's careers crossed?
They do. Emmitt Smith, they said this season was playing in Arizona. Yeah.
I remember him finishing there. Huh. I did not know. I thought I always put those two as two separate. Did Michael Irvin and Tom Brady's careers cross?
Probably briefly. Let's see. Emmitt Smith played until 2004. Played 03 and 04 with the Cardinals. Michael Irvin's last season was 1999, so no. Just barely missed.
It's crazy that Smith played 5 more years than Michael Irvin.
Yeah, especially as a running back too. Like that's pretty unheard of to have that long of a career as a running back. I mean, good for him. But Troy Hambrick, the leading rusher on this team with a whopping 972 yards. And yet somehow this team went 10-6. And like we were saying, their whole game plan was to just like grind it out on offense and then just like suffocate you on defense, which is why they had the first ranked defense in yards and second ranked in points against. But they had the 15th ranked defense in offense in yards and 21st ranked offense in points for.
Yeah, maybe if the Patriots had the 2019 defense and the 2020 offense, I think that formula can work. That's kind of like an old school formula, and it seems to where the Patriots are trying to go just with the people they have,
Yeah.
But they didn't run Carter enough either to make that really effective,
I'm surprised that they didn't use him as a running threat, because he did kind of take off a couple times and picked up good yards with his feet, but he was mostly kind of trying to stay in the pocket. And they showed some stat like halfway through the game where when he's in the pocket, he was throwing touchdowns and some interceptions, but when he's out of the pocket, he's only throwing interceptions. So yeah, I guess he was like, and they kept talking about like how much he was studying being a quarterback and like all of this stuff.
Yeah, they were just trying to. And they're like, the snap hits him in the hands and bounces off his hands and goes over his head, and I was like, oh, what a bad snap! You would hit him right in the hand.
You fired it right back there, Adam's like, I think that's the idea, but okay. What do you want? But then he uses athleticism.
Yeah,
to throw an incompletion. To throw an incompletion to go 3 and out. The story of this Cowboys team was they allowed 16 points per game, which is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
They scored an average of 18 points a game. They were shut out twice in the season. And even though their defense held 6 games, they held teams to 7 or less points, which is fucking impressive. They still won 10-6. So,
I mean, they didn't even have any big names. There was Roy Williams at safety, He was one of the linebackers I recognized, but that was kind of it.
Yeah. So they had, let's see, the Pro Bowlers on defense were Dexter Coakley, Leroy Glover on the defensive line, and safety Roy Williams.
Yeah.
They also had, I think he was a rookie, Terrence Newman at cornerback.
He was a rookie. Yeah, he wasn't starting, I don't think.
Well, he led the team with 4 interceptions. And then they had Greg Ellis was, I think, their kind of sack specialist who sacked Brady in this game. He finished the season with 8 sacks. And then their middle linebacker was kind of the original undersized, I don't know, fragile linebacker that they always have at middle linebacker. Like, who do they have now?
The white guy, what's his name?
Yeah.
Van something, whatever.
Yeah, Van Der Esch. Yeah.
Like
and before that was like someone similar who couldn't stay on the field. You know what I'm talking about? Always. Oh, and they all like their
Lee, right?
Yes, yeah. And they always play like out of control, but they're super smart and super fast, and so they can make up for it. And this season was Dat Quinn, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
And he finished the season with 90 solo tackles and 121 combined, which is pretty fucking impressive. And he was like, and they made a big point of this being a very Parcells like middle linebacker. Yeah, he's usually like 6'4", like pushing 300 pounds. And that wins like 5'8" or something, but still making plays.
But still, for a kind of a no-name defense like that, those are some impressive stats.
Oh yeah, they were saying that they allowed an average of 6 points in the first half of games to teams, which it's still like pre, passing era, but still allowing 6 points in a first half of pretty much every game is fucking impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you're trotting out Alshermond Singleton out there.
Yeah, the household name.
Yes.
Alshermond, is that what he says?
Yes, he's one of their starting linebackers.
I'm sure he is. But I'm wondering if this helped their defensive coordinator get some coaching jobs, because it is the current Vikings head coach, Mike Zimmer, was the defensive coordinator in this game.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And
they were even talking him up a little bit on this.
Yeah. Also on this coaching staff, which I found interesting, was Sean Payton was a quarterback's coach and like assistant to the head coach or something like that, which sure. So he's obviously the longtime Saints head coach now, who's just lost to Tom Brady. Must feel nice. And then also I found this funny. Their tight ends coach was Tony Sperano, the old Dolphins head coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was is this probably the biggest name from the Cowboys in this game was Witten.
Yeah. So I mean, say what you will about Bill Parcells, but the man can draft. Because in this draft, their first round pick was Terrence Newman, who made the Pro Bowl, I think, in this year and probably multiple years. I think he had a good career. And also Jason Witten in the third round, who was like,
yeah, this is Witten's rookie year, and he had one. I mean, it was a nice catch, bad throw sort of thing.
Yeah. One of the interceptions was kind of almost his fault, but I mean, he made some plays with his hands early on in the game. Like, he made some nice snags. You could tell he's going to be.
Which is also crazy to think that he's still playing.
Right. Yeah.
Lordy.
And that Brady's got 2 years on him.
Yeah, he was drafted by Bill fucking Parcells.
Yeah, but didn't Witten retire for a year and then went in the booth and then wasn't very good, so he decided to come back again?
He retired in 2018 and then came back for the Cowboys again.
Yeah.
And this past year, he's like, you know what? Raiders.
That's right. Yes, he did play for the Raiders, didn't he? How did he do?
13 catches for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Nice.
Played all 16 games though.
All right. Maybe he was more of a blocking role.
Maybe he's gonna be old at this point.
Yeah. But there's one player that we haven't talked about that I figured we would have gotten to by now.
On the Cowboys.
Oh. A bit of a homecoming, if you will. You can't just call this the Bill Parcells revenge game.
That's true.
When you also have star wideout and leading receiver for the 2003 Cowboys with 754 yards and 5 touchdowns, wide receiver Terry Glenn returning. How did he feel about coming back?
The fucking shit boot out of him.
Did you hear what he had to say about coming back?
Yeah, I didn't go to the actual newspapers and read the quotes and shit.
No, me neither. But just what the commentator's saying is like, he couldn't wait to get back here because he hates everything about New England. But in true,
in the he had the Patriots hard hat on, the silver one. He had Terry Glenn jersey, and then he put like a piece of masking tape above it, like kind of below his chin, above the numbers, and wrote "she" on it.
Yep. Tough look, but okay.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, like he literally put a piece of duct tape on there on his Terry Glenn jersey, which he still had and was still wearing.
Yes.
But I think in kind of true Terry Glenn fashion, he didn't exactly show up for this game, and he finished with 1 catch for 8 yards, and got thoroughly booed when he made that catch. I don't even think he had many targets, to be honest. Like he just
had Tyler on him, I think, for the most part. I mean, actually, it was Belichick's classic: take the best player away and throw a ton of different looks and coverages at him and double him almost
exactly. Yeah, they seem to have a guy over the top every time, and yeah.
What, Joey Galloway was injured for the Cowboys?
Yeah, so Joey Galloway was their other weapon, but he wasn't playing this game, which opened the door for Antonio Bryant. Remember him?
Yeah, he sucked in this game.
That I think is almost an understatement. This was I was gonna save this as my worst, but he had 3 catches, which is good, except he took him 12 attempts to get those 3 catches.
He had a couple just straight up drops, and it's like,
yeah,
it's Quincy Carter. You really can't be dropping balls.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
put it in the hands. That's an achievement in and of itself.
Yeah. No, I think Antonio Bryant actually had more footballs hit him in the face mask than he did in the hands in terms of catching the ball. Like he was just having balls bounce off his face, which is a tough look when you're a wide receiver. But yeah, I also think there was some great coverage on him too, because it felt like the Cowboys' game plan offensively was run the ball, take a deep shot to Antonio Bryant. And he was never open. He was always just extremely covered. Where there was actually a few of them where probably he was the one breaking up interceptions instead of the other way around.
Well, to be fair on Quincy Carter, he was just running the plays that Bill Parcells called. He had no freedom to change it.
No. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, there was a whole lot of kind of veiled displeasure, I think, from Parcells' point of view towards Quincy Carter about how he didn't consider him a real quarterback, I think, is what it felt like. Just the way that they were talking about him and how they were talking about his and Belichick's relationship. It's like, oh, I've never had to study this hard in my life. And, I'm finally starting to feel like a real quarterback. And some coaches...
Yeah.
Some coaches will only have their quarterback read half the field, but that doesn't happen here in Dallas.
Hear me out on this one. I have a theory.
All right.
If Parcells hadn't been a huge douche and left immediately after taking the Patriots to the Super Bowl, stuck around, and then by some miracle they draft, Tom Brady anyways.
Mm-hmm.
He may have stunted Tom Brady's growth by not letting him, call plays and make audibles and do all that.
Possibly.
You think Parcells could have been such a control freak, because he clearly was a control freak, right? That's why he left the Patriots. Is they're like, oh wow, Jerry Jones is letting him do everything, and he's got all the control he wants, and it's like, but that went all the way through to the plays he's calling. He doesn't let the OC call the plays. He's calling the plays, and he's not letting the quarterback change it. He's calling Parcells plays, and he's doing Parcells thing, and Parcells is the end all be all. And maybe you don't let Tom Brady do that, then Tom Brady doesn't become as good as he is.
It's true. And also does that offense look differently if it's a Parcells offense too, where he's more focused on building that suffocating defense and then doing that ground and pound offense with a game manager at quarterback? So maybe it would have worked out still, because that's kind of what Brady was in 2001, was that game manager for that style of team. But
yeah, but Parcells might like win that Super Bowl and then have the hubris to be like, this is works, you know?
Yep. Oh, I mean, it had before. He'd already won 2 Super Bowls.
Definitely my way now.
Yeah.
And had foregone the evolution of Tom Brady into being awesome. So
It's
what
true.
we're really saying here is Bill Parcells' stubbornness is the root cause of the Patriots dynasty.
So moral of the story is fuck Bill Parcells.
Yeah, well, thank God he was such a dickhead and left.
Exactly.
Good riddance to the stinky tuna.
Can that tuna. Oh
Chicken of the sea. You coward.
Chicken of the sea. That's right. Another good note for this game was that the Patriots were, for the first time, I think, wearing their new silver jerseys.
Yeah.
Which I completely forgotten about.
I don't love it.
Yeah, they just look like they're white but dirty. Especially if it's not in high def. Like, yeah, it looks dirty. It kind of like the Rams uniforms now. I don't like them. You know, they're kind of like the off-white kind of cream color. They just look dirty, and then they have the like puff paint outlines on the numbers.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh man, come on.
I don't mind them.
No, it's so LA. They're trying to be trendy, and it just doesn't come off right.
Andy, are you the fucking judge of what is trendy or not?
I was voted class trendsetter. Thank you very much.
A hoodie and a shirt you made yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Because nobody else can get on my level style wise, so I got to make my own t-shirts.
Yeah, okay. Or maybe your style's so shit, no one even bothers to make such crap clothing it won't sell.
I'm sorry. Were you voted class trendsetter in high school? Because I was.
That was an ironic award.
Regardless, it still happened, and I can hold it over you. Oh boy! Speaking of things that
I can't read.
What?
I said I don't know what I was voted. I couldn't read the yearbook.
Well, that makes sense. You were voted least likely to learn how to read, probably. I think a big part in this game that nobody really talked about, at least the announcers didn't, was I'm coming around to your take that they weren't very good, was that this Patriots defense was a whole lot less injured than they have been in a while.
Yeah, they're getting guys back now.
Because last time we talked, last week, who did they play? The Broncos. Yeah, and the Broncos ran all over them, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of almost...
He was legit, and the stretch run game scheme was really good.
But also, they had no... Remember, Richard Seymour was a late scratch, so they had no Richard Seymour, no Ted Johnson. Like, their linebacking crew was real thin.
No Ted Washington.
Right. So you get all three of those guys back here, and the Patriots, how many rushing yards did they allow in this game? Any? No. Let's see. Dallas, 28 carries, 84 yards as a team.
Ted Washington was legit. I mean, he definitely he changed that whole team inside there.
He does. And they kind of mentioned a bit too, where they were able to switch it up between him and Richard Seymour playing at that nose tackle too. So you can have like a lighter guy. And whenever Richard Seymour seemed to line up inside, the Cowboys guards would get called for holding because he would just blow straight past him. There's one play where they actually showed the replay and the ball got snapped and Richard Seymour just kind of stood up. And so the guard stood up and he just kind of like pushed him out of the way and ran past him. And the guy had to tackle his ass.
Seymour they had no answer for him.
No. And I remember, you think of like good defensive players. You're like, oh yeah, Richard Seymour, he's on that list. But I'd forgotten how much of like a man amongst boys he actually was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They're all like trying to campaign for his Hall of Fame right now. Like Brady's going pretty hard on it. Belichick is as well. And saying like, he didn't have a ton of stats like sacks, but he played everywhere. He played end, inside, outside, every single thing. He played them all really well. And he was watching games like these where Cowboys offensive line was like the strength of their team, and he's just saying, "See you later."
Yeah, it's just
and even the announcer like, "That was Leroy Glover." He's like he's like all pro, and he's a massive dude, and he's just
exactly. He's pushing. Yeah. Leroy Glover was a second team All Pro and a Pro Bowler this year. Yeah, it just didn't fucking matter. Same with Flozell Adams and Larry Allen. Like this offensive line was stacked, and Seymour's just like making them look like rookies. Yeah, it's a huge shift when he's in there versus when he's not. Like they're just not allowing any run game to get going at all. Like they obviously they had some runs, but it just never kind of got rolling like we've seen in some of these other games.
Yeah, they couldn't catch like the 4 yards a clip, so they can just keep running it.
Exactly, which is what we saw last week when he wasn't there, and the Broncos, especially at the end of the game, they're just like running it, and they just can't make the stop. And on that note, like last season too, remember there was that big issue where they couldn't stop anybody because they didn't have that guy in the middle. And I think that was actually in the book too that you started to read.
Oh,
it might be chapter 2, so I don't know if you've got there yet. But
this season that we just watched, in the 2020 season, was like they couldn't stop the fucking run.
Very similar, right? And so last season, 2002, they were 31st against the run on defense, and this year, with the Ted Washingtons and the Richard Seymours, they're now 7th in the league.
Yeah, I think Ted Washington's underappreciated. I think he's only here this year because we draft Vince next year.
I think you're right. Mount Washington does not stick around for a long time.
Because Vince definitely got 1 Super Bowl ring for sure.
Yeah.
He's not here this year. He's got to get one next year.
Right. Let's see. Ted Washington. He's only here for 2003. And then after this, 2 years in Oakland, 2 years in Cleveland. Man, he started in 1991, though. Like, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesus.
I know we've mentioned him before, but like Bobby Hamilton is also sneaky legit.
Very underrated. Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, because he's the one that showed up big in the Snow Bowl game and was just like manhandling people. And I think also if we're talking underrated defensive players on this team, Tyrone Poole, who was a free agent pickup too.
Yeah, I'd always sort of assumed Tyrone Poole sucked.
No, I remember him being good, but it was similar to, like, not quite on the same level as Seymour, but it was one of those things where I forgot why I thought he was good. I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I'll add him to the list of like good players. But yeah, he's almost, I mean, he's no Ty Law, but he was kind of almost that lockdown corner on the other side of Ty Law, especially when he's going up against the number 2 guy. He's kind of a bigger guy than Ty Law, so he was able to take the taller receivers, and the way he plays a deep ball is like clinical. It's ridiculous.
He loses his job probably to Asante next year.
Something like that. Yeah, I think he was basically just a rental. He was here
3, 4,
years.
5.
Yeah,
3 years. Yeah, I mean, he has a good year this year.
Yeah, this is the only year he starts all 16 games, though. Then it's 4 games in 2004 and 1 game in 2005 before he goes to Oakland.
Performance, but I don't know. I'd never really thought he was awesome.
No, but I remember him being good right around now. Kind of the same way Otis Smith was in 2001, where you had that guy opposite Ty Law that was shutting down the number 2 receiver on the opposite team.
Right.
So it felt very similar to that. Do we have anything to talk about on offense?
It was a tough one.
It was, because they had no wide receivers, because Troy Brown is out again this week with a leg injury. So no Troy Brown, and that, I think, hurt them in terms of staying on the field and like keeping drives going, because I think even David Gibbons went out at some point during this game. He just like stopped showing up. Yeah. So they had to rely on people like Daniel Graham. Brady was targeting him a lot, especially on 3rd down. And
wait! I thought his name was David Graham.
Daniel Graham?
They called him David Graham like 4 times.
Did they really?
Yes.
I missed that.
Evan, no. Maybe if you called him Daniel instead of David, he would fucking catch it. And Theismann would correct him each time. Like Theismann make a point of saying Daniel Graham, and fucking Paul, or where the play-by-play guy was, would get it wrong every time.
Not going to stick. I mean, who needs to remember their names? It's not like part of their job or anything, so whatever. It's all good.
They were the worst.
I liked them.
I almost would rather, maybe not quite, but they were almost as bad as Deerdorf.
No. We're definitely not going that far. Rein it in, Steve Brown. I think if we're talking about the only player who on offense really did anything, it was my early Dynasty MVP, Kevin Falk again.
Wait. You're expanding it from this season to the entire early Dynasty?
Yep. Well, it was last season too, and he's continuing it into this season, I think.
No.
Yep. The engine that keeps the motor of the offense running. When they need that yard and Troy Brown's not there, or he's actually getting more attention now because of the year he had in 2002, and he's battling injuries, who do you go to? Who do you go to? Yeah, that's right. You go to my boy, Kevin Falk, who had himself a solid little game. Well, I mean, compared to everybody else. Let's see. He 8 carries for 11 yards. Oh, so maybe not. 4 catches for 22 yards.
Okay, I believe Antoine Smith got 16 carries.
Oh, sorry, no, 3 catches for 22 yards. Longest to 12.
So he got 33 yards.
He was the leading receiver. Him and Christian Fourier both had 3 catches.
Well, yeah, in catches, but not in yards.
Well, he's a running back. He's not supposed to lead the
55-yard, 56-yard touch catch.
He also had a huge gain on a screen call back too.
Oh, okay.
Which probably would have put him close to the team lead in receiving yards, which was Deion Branch, 2 catches for 69 yards, along of 46. Not a great day for Patriots receivers in general. David Givens, 2 catches, 67 yards, longest of 57. So
we though hit those long ones.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of seemed to be. It almost felt like the Patriots were waiting for the Cowboys to blitz, and when they did, they take a deep shot and it worked every time. But because it worked so well, the Cowboys stopped blitzing, and the Patriots didn't really. It almost felt like they were content to just they knew that their defense could handle Quincy Carter, so they're like, we're just not going to take any chances.
It was definitely a grinded out game for sure. That's why it was so fucking boring.
Yeah,
there's so
I
many
enjoyed
punts.
Because so there were a lot of 3-and-outs.
There's so many punts.
A lot of punts.
Ken Walter had 8. Toby Gowen had 7.
Yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 3-and-outs.
The yards per punt was 36 and 34.
Yeah. Oh, the punting was
inside the 20.
The punting was atrocious. They said that Ken Walter was the 31st ranked. No, I think he was the worst ranked punter in the league. Either 31st or 32nd ranked punter in the league.
So I had this question, and that sort of sparked it. Nowadays, I mean, we just finished that 2020 season, and Jake Bailey is our best player on our team.
He's the only one with a Pro Bowl.
Scratch him for, and that's a classic loser bright spot. Our punter was really good.
Yeah.
Because he was, and we've had really good punting for a while now. You kind of take it for granted.
There's Ryan Allen before that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Remember, he won the Super Bowl against the Rams. He was so good in that.
Yep.
And it's when did that flip? Who was the first of the Patriots punters? We're dude, this guy is legit. And I think I know, but I want to see if you got one.
I think it was actually Lee Johnson until he struggled against the Chargers in 2001, and then they had a string of Ken Walters. I don't know who I would put on that list. Who do you're not talking about Zoltan Mesko, are you?
Zoltan.
I don't think he was as good as his name.
And he had the fucking Z-hand thing. That thing is sweet. Everyone, Dad loved Zoltan.
He did have the Z-hand thing. It's a great name.
Dude, I mean, What a name. I feel like he was 2010.
Yeah, and then who was after that? Like, give me a list of Patriots punters.
God, Patriots punter. I don't know if I can name him.
Oh God, yeah, that's a.
But I feel like he was the first one where like the dude was like good enough to be like to come up with the Zoltan thing, you know. Lee Johnson ain't getting a nickname. He's not getting any cult status. Or Zoltan was like good enough to like you can't do that if he sucks.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, he wasn't on like a Ryan Allen level though. Like he wasn't.
No, he wasn't like awesome.
No, he was like middle of the road punter, I think.
But I remember when like he left New England and he didn't sign on anywhere, and I was like, how did he not sign on? Because he's good. And same thing with Ryan Allen.
With Ryan Allen,
how did Ryan Allen not catch on with anybody? Because he was good. Like he was a solid punter. He wasn't maybe. I mean, I think we're better off with the guy we have, but they're both like they're still good.
Yeah, the fact that the Patriots drafted a punter and then went with the rookie over Ryan Allen, and then Ryan Allen didn't get picked up by anybody was a little baffling to me too. I don't know why that was. But yeah, because I remember this being an issue for a while, just the punting from the Patriots in general, which is strange because of how much focus Belichick puts on
Good. All right.
On special teams in general.
Patriots career punting average. Okay. Number 1, Matt Castle.
Oh, right. Yes. One punt for like 60 yards, right?
57. Yeah.
Yeah.
Legit.
It rolled a lot. Where's Tom Brady on that? Because he's got a few punts.
Number 2 is Jake Bailey.
Okay. Makes sense.
3, Ryan Allen. 4, Tom Tupa.
Wow.
5, Zoltan.
Okay.
Josh Miller, 04 to 06.
Yep. Yeah, he was probably the first like solid punter that you had that you didn't think, oh fuck, here we go again.
Yeah. And then Lee Johnson is number 10, 99 to 2001. Chris Hansen, I don't remember him. 07 to 09.
Yeah.
Probably didn't use him that much.
No, not in 07.
Todd Sauerbrunn. He's the old Panthers guy.
He was the beefy one.
Yeah, 2006.
Yep.
He's 14.
All right.
Ken Walters, 21. So for a point of reference, Ken Walters at 38.6 yards per punt. Jake Bailey's at 46.
That's, I mean, neither of us are good at math, but that seems like a decent difference.
Yeah.
Boy.
See Tom Brady on here. 35. He has an average of 34 yards per punt.
With, I think, 2 punts in his career.
Yeah.
Because I remember one, I think, it was against the Jets, and it sparked a scuffle at the end of the game between some Jets players.
Interestingly, Adam Vinatieri is on here.
Oh, yeah.
Number 30. I don't remember him punting.
He only ever did it once, and it was like they set up for a long field goal. Oh, really? And they would like snap it directly to him, and he would just pooch it in there. Try to pin him down.
And
yeah, not great though.
The worst, number 41, Jeff White, 73, 6 punts, 27 average.
I'm pretty sure you and I can probably punt it further than 27 yards. Maybe not very high, but it would go more than 27 yards. I'm guessing in 73, he wasn't kicking very high either.
I guess a preview of what's to come.
Uh-oh.
2003, Brooks Barnard.
Who?
Yeah, who?
Okay.
10 punts. 36.5 yard average. He's 31st.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, so we were like, fucking Ken Walter, you suck. All right, bring this guy on.
Boy, this guy's even worse. Oh, good.
So I'm in for the Brooks Barnard punts.
Can't wait. Well, yeah. Something to look forward to in these games, apparently. Oh my God. I think they're speaking of 40-yard distances. They showed a stat in this game where Tom Brady this season has as many touchdowns of 40 yards or more as he had 40-yard completions last season.
Oh yeah, they said he's already up to there.
Yeah, he's had 7 completions and 3 touchdowns of 40 yards or more this season, and he had 3 completions total of more than 40 yards last
Well,
season.
I mean, Ken Walter probably doesn't even have that many 40-yard punts. He couldn't even punt it to the first down marker on one play.
Yeah, it was. I think I wrote it down. Let's see. It was 4th and 37, and Ken Walter had a 34-yard punt.
Yeah, I saw him bounce and it didn't even make it the fucking first down line.
Nope, not a good look.
It's infuriating, and it wasn't like you're backed up your own side too. Oh.
Yeah, and he punted to like midfield. Awful, because they had driven to midfield.
Yeah.
And then Falk had the screen, like a big screen that got him like about the 20-yard line of the Cowboys. They got called back for a hold. And then the next play, it was like a running play, and then there was that egregious late hit call on Joe Andruzzi that wasn't. Like, I think
the referees in this game were overbearing.
They were not good, to the point where even the broadcast was criticizing the calls. That's when you know it's bad, when they're like, that was bad. Like, oh.
There's so many penalties. And I was like, that's another reason why this game was fucking unwatchable, is because it was just so disjointed, because they couldn't get in any flow, and they're running the ball a shitload, and there's a shitload of penalties. And every time the goddamn ref wanted to call a penalty, he would do the hand signal, so you knew what the fuck it was.
Yeah.
But then it would take him like 3 minutes to actually like find space in the field, and he walks like 20 yards away from everybody to turn on his mic on and say it, and you're like, we already know what it is.
And then there was one where there was a penalty on the Cowboys, but they were like within on third down, and it was within like borderline field goal range. And so he just assumed that they wanted to decline it to bring up 4th down. And so he announced, he's like, oh yeah, it's I don't know, hands to the face on the offense. Penalties decline, brings up 4th down, and Belichick's they cut to Belichick being like, what the fuck? No, I want to accept the penalty. And so there's like another 5 minutes of that. And then he comes back. He's like, during the announcement, the Patriots have changed their mind and will accept the penalty. And Theismann's like, that's not how that works. You're not allowed to change your mind. He just didn't ask them, and just like straight up threw him under the bus.
They also called offensive pass interference on defense number 82.
Yep. Which was actually offensive pass
the penalty off on the Patriots.
Yes.
On the defense, they called offensive pass interference on 82, Jason Witten.
Yeah.
Marked the penalty on the Patriots. And then everyone was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then like, oh, shit, our bad. Yeah. We got to go 20 yards that way.
Oh, it was brutal.
Delay in the game.
Yeah.
Shit together.
And then they called like right at the end of the game, second to last play, the Cowboys took a deep shot, and I think it was Eugene Wilson went and lit the wide receiver up, which at the time was a legal call. And they threw a flag for after the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defensive player launch into the offensive wide receiver. And they're like, that's not a penalty.
Even like by today's standards, it wasn't bad. It was like, because he led with his shoulder. It was like trying to separate the guy in the ball.
And caught him like square in the chest.
Maybe a defenseless receiver thing, but like,
it probably would be now, but even then it would be kind of close.
Man, no, there's so much more egregious shit out there to call. And they didn't call any pass interferences.
But that's where the commentators got livid. Like all of them, like, that was a garbage call. This didn't leave with the head.
Together. Paul was like, oh my God, a great call. And Joe was like, no, it's not. And then they fucking argued for like 5 minutes into the next play about, is this a great call or not? Oh, dude, that 3-man booth was brutal.
And then the next play, Ty Law interception in the end zone to end it. Yeah. And then he started running, like he caught it probably 5 yards in the end zone, running backwards, like towards the back of the end zone. He's like, you know what? Nah, fuck this team. And decided to run it out.
Well, there was no time left either. It was like 2 seconds.
So they cut to Belichick. Oh, well, he could just down it and the game's over. But he's like, you know what? Nah, fuck this. And decided to run it out. And Belichick was like, fucking go. Let's go. Like he wanted that. Yeah. But then, of course, to your point, the commentator's like, well, you know, Belichick obviously didn't want him running that out. Because then he tried to like lateral it to somebody. And that didn't work. Ah, fucking whatever. Last play of the game. You can't lose this game.
Be happy about that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna get a talking to after the game.
Yeah, I got a talking to on
Did you not see
Monday.
the cut of him pointing to the end zone.
Yeah. And like celebrating because he knew the game was over already. And the play was literally did not matter.
Team was already over anyways. They were down for 12-0 with a couple seconds left, trying to throw into the end zone.
Yeah, there's no seconds left. So I mean, you're just trying to make it close at that point. You're just trying not to get shut out. But yeah, I think that was a pretty fitting end to the game. And then Belichick and Parcells met in the middle and hugged it out a bit. And then Belichick was like legitimately like giddily celebrating and hugging his team, hugging his players and stuff.
Super stoked.
Yeah, he was excited that he won this football game, which is dope.
We probably saw that ESPN poll that they did during the game.
I have a screenshot of it, which I will, if I remember, I will post it to Twitter when this comes out. Yes. Let me make a note of this so I don't forget.
Who is coach of the year?
Yeah, so they did a poll that you could, I don't know, call in, text in, a Sports Nation poll.
ESPN.com. This is the internet is a thing now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's Sports Nation. That was ESPN.com. That's right. Sunday Stud was the name of the poll. Who's the NFL coach of the year? And the options are Bill Parcells, Marvin Lewis, Dick Vermeil, John Fox, and Bill Belichick. For some context, Dick Vermeil had his Chiefs at 9-1, and they had only just lost their first game this week to Marvin Lewis's Bengals, who I think were 5-5.
Yeah.
But I think this may have been like early Marvin Lewis when the Bengals, like they showed some, like after the game, they're going to talk about how the Bengals aren't the Bungles anymore.
Yeah, but now we know that 5-5 in 800 is.
Yeah, that's exactly where he's going to be. He plateaued right there in this poll. Yeah. Parcells had taken over the Cowboys as his first year with the Cowboys. Had taken over, but they already had like some good pieces on defense, and they had those wide receivers in Terry Glenn and Joey Galloway. John Fox with the Panthers. I think this was taking over from, remember 2001 when we had Bobby on, our brother-in-law, the Panthers fan, talking about the end of that season. They were 1-15.
All right.
And they just like gave up in that game against the Patriots, and they just got they got their shit kicked in. And so I think John Fox had taken over that team, and he was like rebuilding it here.
And they go to the Super Bowl this year.
They do. And then Bill Belichick, obviously, we talked about last week, is the only team in recent memory to have the league lead in number of different starters. I think they had 40 at this point. And it was the only team to actually have a winning record that he would then
talked about it. This also drove me nuts. They're like, wow, Bill Belichick doing so good with all his injuries, and look at Jerry Jones though giving up all the control to fucking Bill Parcells. Like it was the same sentence. Yeah,
as if those two things were the same. For the record, Bill Belichick finished last in this poll out of 5 with 10.4%.
Hater feel. That's what I'm saying. He knows. Yeah. He sees that poll.
First, the coach that he would beat tonight, Bill Parcells, 34.8%, which of all these guys, I would probably put last, honestly. Yeah, he's got his defense playing well, but I think it's a stacked defense, really, from the sounds of it, the way they were talking about it. And I think it was Theismann was kind of disagreeing with the poll. They're like, yeah, Parcells, I mean, if you're going to put anybody, put like Vermeil or Marvin Lewis up front. I'm like, okay.
Someone said Belichick just because all the injuries, which it makes sense. I mean,
yeah,
that's the hardest part about coaching is when you're injured and you're just plugging and playing and still playing really well.
And I think, hindsight is also 2020, where we know that even with all these things and these close, grinded out games, they don't lose again this season and they win a Super Bowl. So with all that,
too, right? Parcells is very like media savvy, and everyone in the media loves Parcells, and Belichick has the exact opposite, reputation.
The literal opposite.
He's able to like cultivate, and I mean, winning all the Super Bowls allows him to just continue to be that way and just kind of a dick to everybody, which personally I'm about it.
Oh yeah, no, me too. But he should probably find an offense, because I'd like to read you the Cowboys drive chart and the result of each drive.
Yeah, let's go.
You ready for this?
Mm-hmm. Wait, before we go there, at the end of the game. The announcer said, "Wow, this game really lived up to the billing." But go on.
I agree. Get it? The billing?
Oh.
They try to sneak that by you, Steve, but you can't sneak a pun by me.
I was too pissed off.
All right, so Cowboys drives in this game. There were 12 of them. As we know, none of them ended in a score. But here it was: punt, 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 end of half. Punt, punt, interception, downs, interception, interception.
Thrilling.
Not great. Their longest drive was 48 yards. They did twice to end each half.
Yeah.
Not great. And that last drive was literally just like the Patriots playing prevent. Be like, yeah, I mean, you're going to take all minute 56 you have left to score twice, and it's not going to happen. And it didn't end up with the interception.
Didn't even happen once.
Just not great. I mean, that's what you get when you have Quincy Carter not running the ball and trying to throw it instead. And throwing it to Antonio Bryant, who's going to catch 3 of the 12 passes his way.
He had a couple bad interceptions. I mean, one of them wasn't his fault. Where
bounced off
Witten into Tyler's hands.
It was still, I think, his fault for making that decision because he tried to do a bootleg and Willie McGinnis didn't buy it, and so he basically ran backwards 15. It was very Drew Bledsoe-esque almost, where he ran backwards 10 yards. And tried to kind of sidearm it around him to the tight end in the flat, who was covered by Ty Law.
Yeah, it wasn't a great throw, but it was a little unlucky.
It was. It was behind him, but basically Witten kind of knocked it straight up into Ty Law's arms. So, in that way, it was unlucky.
One was 100% his fault, where he just misread the cover.
He threw it to Tyrone Poole.
Threw it right through the dude. It was like not even a receiver around him.
Yeah, and I think the last one was just Ty Law running the route better than the receiver, because he literally caught it in stride where the receiver probably should have been and wasn't, because Ty Law was there instead. Yeah, it was a perfect one. Do you want to do best and worst?
Yeah, I think we're in that.
Yeah, I think I don't think I have any other big old points. You want to go first?
No, you go first. I have a lot.
All right. I'll do a couple. Let's see. The one commercial coming back from the game that they do, where they do like the sponsored by bullshit when they're showing shots of the fans. There was only one that I remember catching in this game, and it was UPS. And the tagline was, "What can Brown do for you?" Which felt appropriate us watching this game.
They should bring that back.
What, Steve, what can Brown do for you? Maybe that should be our tagline now. We'll just steal it from UPS.
No.
But
I don't want to overpromise.
We're not. We're just asking because the answer could literally be nothing.
I don't even want to set any expectations. I don't even want to ask that question because I'm going to under-deliver it. Whatever the answer is, I'm under-delivering. So.
Oh, good. So I would say my best and worst are kind of the same play. It was Deion Branch getting another catch off a deflection for the second week in a row. Tom Brady threw a screamer that Kevin Falk, I'm going to defend and say he decided to turn into a tip drill on purpose, which I don't think it was, but we're going to go with that. Directly into the hands of awaiting Deion Branch, who caught the ball, got tackled, got up, and then was immediately called for taunting after the catch, which set them back 15 yards. So it was as if the play didn't happen.
Too.
Yeah, it was. And then let's see, an honorable mention would be, there was an interview, a sideline interview with a young Robert Kraft.
Yeah.
Who I've decided, I'm trying to figure out who his voice reminds me of.
Sounds like a fucking goober.
So yeah, but I think I've come close.
Okay, I'm interested because he sounds like he's congested. He's kind of a goober. Yeah. He's not a great interview, voice wise. I think what he says is fine, but
yeah. But so I think it is.
All right, you wolf.
All right, sheep herder. Good joke, man. How's this thing work?
Like this.
Good joke, man.
He sounds like Droopy the dog. Remember Droopy Dog? He's like always a little, but he has that same like that same voice, that sort of thing.
All right. I can definitely see it.
So I just figured out like right before we started recording this, so I just found like the first clip I could, but I'm gonna see if I can find some and see if I can put together a Robert Kraft versus Droopy the dog.
Got it. In his offense, at least he always thanks the fans every time.
Oh my God!
So how Tom Brady always says, "Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad." Mm-hmm. Actually, in the Broncos interview, he said, "Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Hi, sisters," because they say I never say hi to them.
Yeah, that's right.
And RKK always thanks the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I appreciate that.
He does, but he was like super awkward in this too, because they're just asking him like softball questions. And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, we're a big fan of Jerry Jones. Our family's really close, and we get dinner together all the time." And so they're like, "Oh, so will the winner of this game be the one to buy dinner next time?" And he just like blanked. He's like, I'm sure we'll have dinner. Yeah, okay. Just like trying to get out of the interview. Like, oh, you poor bastard. That's exactly how it would be if I was the owner of the Patriots and you're trying to interview me on live television. Like, yeah, I eat dinner.
What do you mean who's going to buy it? We're both fucking millionaires, lady. Jesus.
Right. Yeah. Drop in the bucket, baby. All right. So what's your best and worst?
All right. Deep down, happy Parcells will never be part of the Patriots Hall of Fame.
Ooh.
Because we know that guy on the inside, and we all told him, don't do it.
Right.
So this game, all that confirms my feelings there. So
Good.
It's nice to have a little validation there.
Yep.
I learned that back in the day, I guess, hitting the offensive lineman with a pass is a penalty.
It is. It still is. It's
you sure?
Illegal touching. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like if you could just like inadvertently hit the offensive lineman with a pass, it's not a penalty.
No, I think it still is. At least as far as I know. But I mean, you might be right. Maybe they've changed it.
Back check. Because it was weird because it wiped out a penalty on the Patriots defense. Like
it did,
Carter
yeah.
just had a brain fart, and they offset.
Let's see. I'm not quite sure how to.
Probably my worst is like a little combination of Antoine Smith and Field, because they both looked awful.
Yeah.
And like they also like contribute to each other looking awful, because like Antoine Smith couldn't get footing, so he's falling down.
There was that one play. I think it was like, I don't think it was third. It might have been like second and short. And Antoine Smith got the handoff and had like days of open space and just like fell over the dirt.
Yeah.
Like 2 yards in the backfield. Like,
I have none here. Has he broken a tackle yet this year? Like he's definitely got like, he's running on fumes.
Yeah, because there were some plays where it started off and they had like a couple of pulling guards and it looked really good, and there's like nobody out there and it goes for like 3 yards. Like, how did you get tackled?
We redo the grass at Gillette. I don't remember when that is, but they
I think it's after all of the Colts teams come to visit in the playoffs, because that was on purpose to slow down those faster teams, was creating garbage field conditions.
It was I mean, this is early, it was only week 11, and it looked.
Well, they talked about how it was because they shared the stadium with the New England Revolution. Yeah. And so they're like, the Revolution are tearing to bits too. Which I remember from high school. We weren't, as a soccer team, we weren't allowed to play on the football field because soccer games tear up the.
And you're a bunch of foot fairies.
Goddamn right, a bunch of foot fairies. But at least we know that a header doesn't.
No good. It's a header. It's no good.
Can't be no good.
What?
Oh my god.
And not a worse for the Patriots, but I'm sure if you ask Bill Parcells, they had an offsides on a field goal attempt.
Oh, that was a good one.
The Patriots to burn like another 2 minutes of clock
by their first round draft pick.
Yes.
Terrence Newman, who it was like a 4th and 3. Patriots are kicking a field goal with like just over 2 minutes left, so they would have got the 2-minute warning and everything.
The 30-yard line.
Yeah, and so the Patriots do a hard count on the field goal, get him to jump. Adam kicks the field goal anyway, but then they get to run 3 more plays before he kicks another chip shot.
Paul was like, "Hey, maybe you take the points."
Yeah, right. No, I think it was Theismann, and everybody's like, "Nope." He's like, "Well, to be fair, I'm an idiot. So I was just thinking it through out loud for all the other idiots out there listening with me. Like, well, all right, at least he's honest.
And my best, and then I have a bonus football or not football when we're done here.
Ooh.
The best though, and I can't believe we didn't mention this, is the it's I don't know, halftime-ish or first half, or I don't know, when it was still pretty close. Cowboys had a 3rd-and-1, 4th-and-1, and the 4th-and-1 play, Teddy just crushes it.
Oh yeah,
Blows the blocker by, hits him like 4 yards deep, so it was like a loss of 3 on 4th-and-1. It was awesome.
It wasn't even 4. It was like 4th and inches. It was short.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it wasn't like ooh, where's the spot gonna be? It was like he got the handoff and he got hit.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
No, that's one of the highlights on the website. Is that
go.
Bruschi 4th down stop? It was huge, yeah, because they blew up that whole play. Like it didn't have a chance from the get go because the commentators talking about how of course you go for it here because you have Quincy Carter and he's so good with his legs and he'll convert the QB sneak no problem. But then the Patriots lined up with like 3 guys over the center, basically run literally anything else,
anything on the edges.
Yeah, and so they tried, and it didn't fucking work.
They tried to run fucking up the gut, whatever.
Not a great play call.
And then my football, or not football, help me out here. He just slides in the hole. All you need is 8 inches.
8? Oh God. Well, I'm about to disappoint whatever hole that is.
Well, it's Quincy Carter. So. They were actually talking about that on his QB sneak early in the game. That kind of set up that 4th-and-1 play. He just slides in the hole. All he needs is he steps back, waits for him, and then slides in the hole. All you need is 8 inches.
Oh my goodness! All you need is 8 inches.
I thought the commentators were awful, and I am really not looking forward to any more Paul McGuire. How did that guy even get a fucking job? I didn't even heard of this fucking dude.
I mean, yeah. I don't know much about Paul McGuire. I can't find anything about the offensive players. So if any of you know the rule about a forward pass hitting an offensive lineman in the back of the head and that being called ineligible receiver or something like that, I don't exactly remember what the call was because they did do a good job of explaining it. Something like that, yeah. Let us know. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, or great segue like this, Steve Brown. You can text us on the Dynasty Hotline. Do you remember the number?
505 Troy Brown for 3.
Yes, 603-505-8043. The Dynasty Hotline. You can just shoot us a text and let us know what that rule is, or let us know anything else about this game that we have missed. I don't think there's anything, but who are we to decide what's important about this game?
We're the host, Sandy. That's what our job is.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to take that out of the listeners' hands. If they have something that they think is important, they can let us know. Okay, maybe we'll even have them on to discuss it in a future episode. But speaking of future episodes, what is next week, Steven?
I don't know.
Of course you don't fucking know.
Well,
Patriots are, I was going to say staying in Texas, but they're actually traveling to Texas this time to take on the Houston Texans in Texas at Reliance Stadium.
This is the Houston Texans' first year?
I don't believe it's their first year, no, but it's very early on in there. Is it their first year? Ooh. No, I think they came after that. Didn't they? Houston Texans started in 2002. This is their second year. They went 4-12 in their first year. This year they will go 5-11. But I remember this game, I think.
I don't.
Only because I believe I was extremely hungover at Ryan Story's house and we were watching it the night, and the game was it felt like a hangover. So
I guess we'll find out then.
We sure will on the Patriots Dynasty podcast.
See you later.
See you later.